Good morning, lovelies. It starts with a thought. Let's talk about it.
Jesus. Coffee.
So, it all starts with a thought. Our negative feelings, our negative thoughts, our positive thoughts, our energy, our emotion, all starts with a thought. So, how do we stop negative thoughts? How do we stop anxiety? Paul tells us in 2 Corinthians 10, verses 3 through 5, really in verse 5, but I want to go through verses 3 through 5, how to do this. Okay? So verse 3 says, "For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war against the flesh." And he says that in Ephesians 6 too. "For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal." It's not a person. It's not flesh. "But mighty in God for pulling down strongholds." Right? "Casting down arguments and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, bringing every thought into captivity to the obedience of Christ." Ooh. It all starts with a thought. What's he say right there? It's not carnal. It's not flesh. It starts right here. "For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal." It's not a weapon. It's in the mind. "But mighty in God." Doesn't say mighty in Jim. Doesn't say mighty in you. Mighty in God. For pulling down strongholds. What are strongholds? Things that bind us. Anxiety, depression, fear, addictions, strongholds. "Casting down arguments and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God." So, our thoughts. Where do our thoughts come from? Well, our thoughts come from two things. First of all, often the voice of God talking to us. I don't know about you. If you've ever heard God audibly, hey, I'm not mad at you. I've never heard his voice audibly. Does he sound like Morgan Freeman? Does he sound like, James Earl Jones? I've never heard his voice audibly. But he talks a lot here. And then there's this other little joker. He doesn't stand on my shoulder. He doesn't have a pitchfork. Doesn't have red horns. Doesn't wear a suit that was clearance on Target rack. No. He's the enemy. Lucifer. Know him by name. Know your enemy. His name is Lucifer. Some other nicknames he walks around with that he's known to his peeps by is Satan, the devil, the enemy, father of lies. Those are some of his other, aliases. But he also creeps in here and drops some lies. You're not good enough. You're not enough. Watch out how far you go. You don't want to get embarrassed. Don't do that. You're not good enough to do that. Who says you can do that? You're not enough. You're fat. You're ugly. You don't look good in that. Better drop some weight. All the lies he whispers in our head. And those thoughts, we catch those thoughts. Sometimes those thoughts are judgments of people. When we're scrolling through Facebook or scrolling through social media and we see something somebody just went on vacation and they were talking about how they were in debt. Huh. You caught a thought. And when you caught that thought, it started to drive judgment. Started to, why are they going on a vacation? They couldn't afford it. They're in debt. We start spiraling out of control with negative thoughts, negative self-talk. We start to listen to that enemy. We start to listen to the thoughts he puts in there. Stop that. Take those thoughts captive. It starts with a thought. You can control that thought by knowing what God says about you. When the enemy whispers, you're not enough, talk back to him and tell him, really? I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Nobody thinks about you. Really? God thinks about me so much that his thoughts for me outnumber all the grains of sand on the planet. Nobody thinks about me? The most important one thinks about me. Nobody loves you. It's Valentine's Day and you're single. Nobody loves you. Valentine's Day, love doesn't start on February 14th. Love starts in John 3:16. For God so loved the world, which is you, that he gave his only Son, so that whoever believes in him would not perish, but have everlasting life. God so loved you. Not Susie, not Davy, not Billy, not Lizzie. God loves you. Take those thoughts captive. Tell him, go away. Go away. Because when we look, it starts with a thought. Judgment. Guess what? When we start judging others, we're judged the same way. Stop it. Stop the judgment. Take the thought captive and go, wow. Turn that judgment into praise. Wow, praise you, Lord, for blessing them with a vacation. That's awesome. I hope they had the best time. Take that thought captive. You have the ability. Get in here. Get in his love letter. Know what he says about you. When you fold it in your heart, you have it at the ready to combat those thoughts. Arm yourself. Take every thought captive. Stop it. Stop that thought and turn that thought around. When you turn that thought around, turn it into a positive, guess what? You'll feel a lot better. Rejoice always. In everything, give thanks. Take those thoughts captive. I love you. I know he loves you like crazy. We'll be back tomorrow with whatever Dad wants to talk about. Today I challenge you to take your thoughts captive. Love you guys and have a fantastic Valentine's Day. You're loved by the most important one ever. Love him back.